each time I come up with a guest who tells me something, I say, oh, wow, I didn't know this could be an enterprise. So today is the day for the enterprising woman, the decade of the entrepreneur, mompreneurs and womenpreneurs. And today's guest, as usual, is another womanpreneur doing, I think she's in the entertainment business. She says she makes films and she's an anchor. And with so much of, I should say, people wanting entertainment all the time, whether it's a ground event or whether it's on the radio, whether it's on television, people are waiting for something new to entertain them. So this is one industry which is just booming, booming, booming. And I think there is a perfect fit for women in this, because women are, I think, by nature entertainers. You know why? They are an audio-visual equipment on their own. Lakshmi finds that a little funny, or...
I do. I mean, I don't know. I think it's funny when you say that a woman is an audio-visual equipment.
In fact,
I wouldn't put it in those words, but yes.
Okay, all right. When I'm a corporate trainer and I take sessions in companies, they ask me, do you need an AV equipment? I say, no, I'm a walking AV equipment, because I can speak and I use my face and my hands and everything to emote the whole thing.
Oh, so that's what you mean.
Yeah.
Okay.
So women are more expressive in all these things than men are.
Yes,
Okay.
I guess so, yes.
So the guest today, let me just introduce her to you. She is Lakshmi Rebecca. As I told you, she's a filmmaker and she's an anchor.
Hi, guys.
Hi. The thing is, I don't know anything about her other than her name.
Okay.
I'm seeing her for the first time. And if you wondered, where did I pick up Lakshmi Rebecca? I picked her up from a very interesting place, from Facebook.
You didn't pick me up, but you met me on Facebook. What? Okay.
Pick me up is what men do to women. You know what? Let's trash all that.
Okay.
Okay? It's an English word and we can use it for us too. When I say pick me up, I picked up this book from the library.
Mm-hmm.
I picked up this person from the Facebook.
Mm-hmm. All right, Chaya. You can redefine all the phrases.
Absolutely. It's just the intention of your phrase that matters.
Mm-hmm.
So Lakshmi, because I don't know anything, tell me like I'm a 6-year-old. What do you do? Where do you come from? How did you get on this idea?
Mm-hmm.
The works.
Okay. Sure. Yeah. So
the floor is yours.
Yeah. So Chaya, you run a show on radio, online radio. I run a show online, but it's completely video. So just as there are pre-produced talk shows on TV, I have my own online pre-produced talk show, and it's called Chaya with Lakshmi. So anyone can go to chayawithlakshmi.in and watch a video.
When you say chai, it's CHAI?
Yes, CHAI, the proper way of spelling chai in India, the masala thrown in. So Chaya with Lakshmi is a 20-month-old online talk show that's in its 4th season. This week we released, I think, our 108th episode.
Mm-hmm.
We have anywhere between 1.5 to 3 lakh viewers every single month. So that's what I do. So
how did you hit upon this idea?
Sure. It's primarily my background. So I have a mixed background.
Mm-hmm.
Of social work and social research contributing to documentary films for BBC, Discovery and Channel 4. And then I stumbled into modeling, did a lot of ramp work.
Those who people can't see you because this is radio. You're about 6'1" or something?
No, about 5'10".
Okay,
Thank you, Chaya.
Do you see, for me, I'm just 5 nothing.
Oh.
And looking at you, I somehow think you must be way beyond 6.
Yeah, the first thing you did when you saw me, you sort of jumped up towards me, didn't you?
Yes.
Yes. So the combination of a background of social research, modeling,
mm-hmm.
which led to anchoring. So I anchor corporate events, and then marketing. Actually, I'm a qualified marketer. So I brought all of these together in wanting to create a brand for myself, wanting to create a property online. And that sort of took its own shape, and the baby is, it's a much...
Chai with Lakshmi.
Yes, much bigger than a baby today.
Let's have really hot cup of chai with Lakshmi. And here is Lakshmi Rebecca, who's a filmmaker and anchor. And she just started telling me about how she got into web
hosting, an online talk show.
Online talk show. Okay, I'm doing in a studio talk show, and she does online talk show.
Yeah.
You people can only hear my guests. Her viewers can see their guests. and seeing is believing. Okay.
Oh, I'm sure they believe you, Chaya.
I hope so too.
I believe you.
Okay, now let's go on from you're talking about you were a model and then you are into marketing. Have you done an academic qualification you have in marketing?
Yes. Yeah. I have a postgraduate degree in international marketing from Sheffield Business School.
Okay.
I'm also an associate member of the Chartered Institute of Marketing UK. I used to teach marketing. I've done a lot of market research. I used to teach at Sheffield Business School, and here in Bangalore, I used to teach at Christ University. I gave up teaching a little while ago and got into consulting. So I've consulted for a few different companies. And then when I started up on my own, of course, consulting took a back seat. I still do it on and off, but primarily, production of my own show, all the research required to keep it going, the website, all the blogging content that goes on it, editorial, quality checking, etc. All of that takes a lot of time, and that takes, that takes most of my time now.
Are you a one-woman team?
No, I have a few full-time staff and half a dozen freelancers working for me.
And do you need a regular studio? Because if it's a video, you need to have a backdrop and
for video, yes.
place.
So it depends. Because we're an online talk show, we've kept our format a little flexible. So keeping with the name, depending on who I'm meeting, I could be having chai with that person on a street corner at the chai walas and having a discussion about something interesting. Or I could go sit at, let's say, Vivanta by Taj, who are right now my hospitality partner, and film over there. So it depends on who I'm filming and what we're talking about. We go out of our way to find interesting topics and interesting people. We do our research beforehand. We meet the people, understand what they do, and only when if we find what they're doing is interesting and that our audience will love it, we invite them on the show. And once they're invited on the show, depending on what they do and what they're going to talk about, we pick a venue.
Okay. Now, you said a number of things there, so I'm trying to take off one by one. Okay. Interesting topics. So, do you have a line of topics, or do you decide on the topic, having met the person and say, okay, this person makes interesting topic?
No, we have a specific focus. So in a season, so right now we're in our fourth season. So in a season, there are about 35 to 40 episodes. So very similar to a TV show. Much of those episodes are planned in advance, and those episodes have a focus. Overall, the show's focus is people and ideas that are shaping India and impacting India positively for the future of the country. So it could be, let's say, a homemaker who's an activist, a waste management activist, who can tell you exactly how to segregate waste at home, show you how to segregate waste at home, and explain why. To, let's say, a Magsaysay awardee like Harish Hande, who can talk about why, let's say, solar power can be affordable to you and me as an average person, because he's made it available for people at the bottom of the pyramid, while still having a profitable business based on that idea. So these are topics that are sensible, contemporary, relevant to an educated Indian, and that's really what it is. So our tagline is urban conversations. So we focus primarily on these kind of subjects.
Even though they are into rural development or something, that is...
No, we primarily focus on urban context, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the kind of people that you interview, how do you have a research team which tells you these are the people doing this? And
a lot of people write into us. We get a few emails every single day.
Nominating themselves or their friends or something.
Yeah, we also have strategic partnerships with organizations which already do a lot of research, and they're able to help us find our guests. We also hear about people through word of mouth. Other people, we've already done over 100 episodes. So all those over 100 guests will refer us also and recommend others for the show. So it's accumulation of all these different avenues or funnels of finding a guest.
How long is this talk show?
Each of the webisodes, what you finally see online, will be 7 to 11 minutes.
That's it.
Yeah, online people have a short attention span, but we spend a few days on each of those to create each of those.
You'll take a lot of footage and then you edit the whole thing.
Absolutely.
Put them together. Just 7 or 11 minutes.
Yeah.
How are you able to package that person's contribution, that person's...
So it's very focused. So this is where our research comes into play. So for example, if you are going to be on the show, I would have already met you once or twice.
Then you would know what
thoroughly
to highlight.
Understood. And also when the medium is visual, we're able to show a whole lot more in 30 seconds, express a whole lot more in 30 seconds than we might be able to otherwise. And the topics are very focused, extremely focused.
Now, you just spoke about Mr. Hande who does solar
Solar power.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, which means, do you also go on site where he is manufacturing it, or it's just a
Yeah. So with a person like Harish Hande, we could do that. So we could either invite him to a place where we can sit down and interview him, or we can go to the place where, his team is manufacturing those solar panels, or where they're in one of the, let's say, poorer areas where they're installing it, and actually have that in the backdrop and do a
While you're
conversation.
talking to the
Absolutely.
person.
See, visually, it's very interesting then.
It's so much, you can do so much more, like you said, visually.
Yes.
How did you come up with this idea?
It started off when I was still consulting as a marketer, and I was anchoring as well. And I said, hey, let me do a few interviews of entrepreneurs and put it online. And I think I do have a camera presence. This is how it all started. And then I started taking my little Canon camera around, the usual, the automatic digital little handheld cameras. And I realized that it was going to be a lot of effort to create a good quality video. And then I said, if I'm going to put in that much effort, I might as well make a brand of it and make a business of it. That's really how it started.
Did that idea come because you're in marketing, and in marketing, you see everything as a possible business?
Not really. I think it came because I realized how much I enjoyed the whole process of making these videos. The whole exercise of researching, meeting people, interacting over chai, even if there are creative pressures, because you have a camera crew around you and stuff, and what you learn from these people. And it's been fascinating to build my own brand and see how it's grown and the kind of value it's creating in the market in a larger sense. I think of all the things that I've done apart from social research, this is one of the most enjoyable jobs I could have created for myself.
I want to ask you, because today everything, when you go shopping or when you talk to celebrities, it's like a cookie cutter kind of a thing,
Mm-hmm.
There are many celebrities, there are many things in the shop. Everything is like me too, me too, me too.
Mm-hmm.
How do you brand something? See, like YouTube has a lot of all these things.
Mm-hmm.
How does Chai with Lakshmi become a brand? So what is it that makes it a brand other than Chai with Lakshmi?
Well, it already is a brand.
Yeah.
And I'll say that purely from the point of view of the kind of feedback we get in the
Sure.
market already.
Yeah.
And
I've seen it
the
too.
name
I
has.
enjoy watching it.
Yeah. And so the question is, how does something become a brand?
Something. Yeah.
Okay. So, is there a unique value? Number one.
Mm-hmm.
You can have 10 biscuits in front of you, okay, and you call them all biscuits, okay? But if a particular biscuit delivers something in addition to others or something differently to the other biscuits, and it's packaged as an experience, and in that packaging, you're delivering a value, for example, an association of an experience. So let's say it's a creamy rich chocolate biscuit, okay? Let's be a little indulgent here. Creamy rich chocolate biscuit packaged in beautiful violet packaging, and it promises to put a smile on your face.
Oh, okay.
Simple. Doesn't that stand out already from all the other biscuits?
Already.
Yes.
You already have a smile on your face when you look at it. Yeah.
And you're smiling too, right? So it's not just the basic product, but what you build around it in terms of values, and then what you promise in terms of an experience. And the fact that whether you're a manufacturer or a service provider or you're just a marketer, you are able to deliver that experience consistently time and time again. So you have to keep the focus of who you are or what you defined yourself as. Okay.
So
and trust builds.
The key word here is the experience that you give.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Money can buy everything, but the experience is something mehsoos kiya jaye, they say, isn't it?
Yes.
You can't actually see it,
Yeah.
but you can feel it.
Like you have to be here to experience this show with Chaya.
Total. Okay.
Yes.
So this knowledge you had about marketing and branding and things like that, is that what you applied to your own life to create the brand for yourself?
I wouldn't say so much my own life, but my own first online talk show. It's the first of its kind in the country.
Yeah.
And yes, definitely, I've applied some lessons, but I've also learned a lot on the go, especially because the digital space is very different to traditional marketing. And you have to constantly interact with a lot of people in the industry to learn from them. And learn from a lot of other startups as well as to, how to do this, how to go about it.
theoretical knowledge won't help.
Of course, it doesn't have anybody
In
in any
anything.
field. Yes.
Okay. Now, the next thing I want to ask you is, you said you studied in the Sheffield University, which is in
The UK.
UK. So does your background go back to being in UK, born and brought up there or something?
No,
Or
no,
you
no,
went there
no.
to
I was
study?
born in Hyderabad, raised in Chennai,
Okay.
and Bangalore is home now.
That's pretty global.
And I just
Globally
did
local.
local.
But you went there to study only.
Yeah, that's about to study and work for. I worked there for a bit.
How does, see, we are speaking around, I call March the International Women's Month. 8th is the International Women's Day.
Yes.
But everyone can't have everything about women being done on the 8th. So they scatter it over the month.
Sure.
Can we do it on
Celebrate the entire month. Yeah.
entire? So I always think March is the International Women's Month. And we are talking about this. Do you think women have a special talent to do things like this that you and I are doing?
I think anybody does.
Talk show, because women are good at talking.
I don't know. There's some really good male talk show hosts there as well, particularly in the US and in the online space too, not just in, on TV. So I don't think it's I wouldn't definitely pitch men against women on this one. But having said that, I think it's a lot of hard work to not just be an anchor, but to direct your own show, to produce it, to also go to the business development and run the whole thing in the back end, managing the team as well. I think, so from a challenge point of view, it's very challenging. So I almost feel like you'd have to, whoever it is, whether it's a man or a woman, you would have to commit yourself to a lot of long hours and hard work and all kinds of work, and be really versatile and agile about how you go about doing this, pulling something like this off on limited resources, because you're a startup.
Any startup.
Yeah.
When you say business development, do you have a revenue module for this?
Absolutely. And any business needs to have a revenue model. So my business is actually called Red Bangle. So Chaya with Lakshmi is our product.
Okay.
Okay. Red Bangle is the name of the business. Okay. Now Red Bangle is a production house.
Okay.
We make videos for a whole range of clients. Okay.
So you do have something else to back up this.
Yes. So the way it works is we're a production house. We make corporate films. We have web videos that we make for a whole range of clients. And we have our own online product, which is Chaya with Lakshmi. Now, the way Chaya with Lakshmi is going to grow is that, given the numbers already, we have a good, response that we're getting from the market. Going forwards, we will pitch it just like a TV show, right? And
Like a
say
reality
that
show.
invite brands to come on board to sponsor us. That's really how it's going to be. And today, even if you take, let's take the example of some of the more successful blogs, it's the same thing. Successful blogs today have brands coming on board to sponsor them and advertise on their website. Yeah. On their blog sites. So it's the same with an online property. Any online property, you do well, you draw enough traffic, you can sell your space.
So the same thing could happen to Radiowala because we are also online.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Do you see online entertainment as the future?
A lot of people say that it works. There are low entry barriers. Okay. I think the smarter people right now, see, India is not ready for for the kind of consumption that today exists online in, let's say, a country like the US. But we're in a place now where everyone looking to enter this platform should probably look at something cross-platform. You have to look at an online-offline engagement model. Otherwise, it doesn't work, doesn't make sense. But maybe 5 years from now, that would change.
Okay.
5 years from now, you can probably be 100% online property and you'll be doing fine. See, it all comes down to how much, how many Indians have
Computer.
well, computers is one. If they didn't have computers, because mobiles are a great way to go online, 3G is a big platform.
Okay, we are talking about 3G. And you're talking about how 3G will help online listening pleasures and things like that.
3G. Yeah, I think we were saying that, 3G can really drive consumption of online content, whether it's infotainment or entertainment or sport or news. Because I think whilst computers are still the norm for a majority of urbanites, in the semi-urban and rural setting, mobile phones are people's personal screens,
I believe in India, it's the biggest mobile using country.
I guess.
Here you have even sabjiwalas, maids, all of them have a mobile.
Yeah, my household helpers both have mobile phones. Yeah.
So, Chaya with Lakshmi How is it different from Coffee with Karan?
Oh, please, I get asked that
Everyone
all the
asks you
time.
that question. I didn't want to
So-
ask it. It's so cliched, but I was tempted to do that.
No problem. So I'll answer that now that you've asked me that question. So Coffee with Karan, we all know it's about celebrities.
Okay.
And do they really sip coffee on the show? No. But it's sponsored by
Those cups are
Nescafe.
huge.
Cups are huge, but no coffee in there, right? It's only for signatures. Anyway, no digs at Karan, poor thing. He's doing it for me.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So you said let's step back and
If you step back a bit, the idea of chai. Traditionally, we didn't have so many cafes. Cafe culture is a new thing in India, right? So your chai typically happened when you were sort of, let's say, walking down the street, going from one place to another, whether it's office to home or, home to college or just to a friend's place or to the market or whatever. And you spent 5 rupees in those days, had a nice little strong cup of masala chai. And whilst you were sipping it, you typically might have overheard a conversation. Some other guests at the chai walas would be talking to the chai wala, or maybe the radio will be playing. Or you might strike up a conversation with somebody else sipping chai or with the chai wala. And you'd walk away from that, from those 5 minutes or 10 minutes, depending on how long you spent over there, with a little bit of an insight and a refreshed perspective on something to do with either your city, town, or country, right? Or neighborhood even. That is really what the idea is based on. So in 7 to 11 minutes today, I'm saying in the urban context, let my sophisticated viewers sit at their desk at office or home, grab a cup of chai, sit down, and tune into a conversation that's insightful. That's the reason it's called Chaya with Lakshmi.
Okay. And does it come at a particular time or you can...
It's on demand. You can watch it anytime.
Anytime.
Yeah. Anytime, anywhere.
You said you've done 108 shows.
Yes.
What are the ones that you'd like to talk about? Which are the ones?
Sure.
A little about those people whom you have interviewed.
I'll start with the one that was most moving, not only to me, but I think also to a lot of people who watched it.
Okay.
It's this really young man in Chennai called Sarat Kumar. He's a taxi driver. His mother's a beautician. Lower income family. And I met him because he's actually the first Indian motorbike racer to reach MotoGP and to reach a European podium, which means he won bronze in Italy early last year, April last year at Monza. And he's the first Indian ever to achieve that. To come from a background that he comes from, to take up an expensive, demanding sport like motor racing, and to be the first Indian to reach a podium in Europe is not an easy task.
And to have a motorbike like that, a powerful motorbike, it must be expensive.
I guess he wouldn't own a motorbike. That would be sponsored to him. He rides for a team, so the team looks after that. But it still is very demanding. So when I interviewed him, it was straight after his win in Monza, Italy, in April last year. A week after he'd come back. And it was still sinking into him, as to the degree of his achievement.
The glory of it.
Absolutely. So he came and he talked about, his journey of stumbling into motor racing and what happened in Italy and the support that he'd received from Mahindra Racing because he was racing for Mahindra then. And then he talked about him coming back and driving his taxi. He just bought his taxi then. Until then, he was a student and given up studies then. So I was like, okay, I just assumed that, the life of a sportsman is very demanding. You wake up in the morning, there's 3-4 hours of fitness, and then you got to go into practice depending on what kind of sport. And then there's fitness again, and you really have to be careful about what you eat and you get enough rest. So not for a minute had I assumed that he was going to be the taxi driver himself. I just assumed he was going to buy a car and somebody else was going to drive
Outsource it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, on camera, he was saying that, no, I'm going to drive it. And I'm like, how are you going to be a motor racer and be a taxi driver? Because taxi drivers put in long hours at work. And he was like, well, I have to do it because I have to support my family, And it was amazing, the kind of grit and determination in that 20-year-old to try and pull so much off without really giving up on his dreams. And also you could see the struggle in him, between the effort and the resources that were, in organizing the resources that were required to keep his career in motor racing going, while still trying to be, the good son and the providing male in the family.
Yeah, I mean, whether it's good or bad, it's just the basic duty of everyone, I guess, to run a family.
Yes. And I think for him, the challenge was, see, unlike in cricket today, you make it big, there's plenty of sponsors behind you. The challenging bit for Sharath and for a lot of other young athletes is that there's not enough sponsorship and support for them, even if they're really moving mountains in whatever they're doing.
Isn't it a pity? Because these kind of things, there are better chances of them doing well than to be in a cricket, to be noticed by the BCCI. There's so much politics involved in it.
I guess, I don't know enough about cricket.
No, I don't know. And
non-cricket Indians.
I only know about all the hoo-ha that happens around cricket. And could you motivate somebody to sponsor him or something through this show?
That's already happened.
That's what.
So the moment the video came out, people got in touch saying, hey, we'd like to support Sharath. And that video also helped him get a one-on-one dinner with Anand Mahindra and family.
Great.
That's the kind of impact that video had. So, and that video also, for the first time, I guess, had all the CEOs of the top channels, TV channels in India, sit up and take note of Chai with Lakshmi. So, yeah, that was a turning point for both Sharath and me, I think. And hopefully it's contributed and supported to Sharath in a big way, since I haven't kept track of all the developments.
Yeah, you can't keep track of so many people.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was a beautiful episode.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's, in case any of you want to watch it, it's called The Taxi Driver Who's a MotoGP Racer.
Okay.
Yeah. Apart from Sharath, people who are very interesting, I would say one of them, and we've actually since become friends, is Dr. Sunita Maheshwari. She's a Yale returnee pediatric cardiologist. She was heading the pediatric cardiology department at Narayana Hridayalaya. She and her husband run a business that's into teleradiology. At the time that I interviewed them, they'd just become, although they were Bangalore based, they had just become USA's #1 teleradiology solutions provider. And they're absolutely beautiful people because, and I'll talk specifically about Sunita because she's the one who came on the show. She's very, very down to earth, very hardworking, very friendly, and very genuine.
Explain a little about what is this teleradiology.
Teleradiology, sure. So we know radiology.
Yeah.
It's got to do with scans and, MRIs and all of that. Radiology reports. Teleradiology is where, let's say you got a patient coming in somewhere in, let's say for example, America. Now, what happens is you've got your radiologist usually coming in, let's say for a 9 to 6 shift.
Okay.
There are not enough radiologists in the world, so for you to have 3 radiologists covering all shifts, all 8-hour shifts, right? So what happens in the remaining, 16 hours when you have no radiologist in the hospital to read the reports? If you have an emergency case, you're going to be stuck. The patient will have to wait till the next morning. Teleradiology basically plugs that gap.
Okay.
You can have a hospital in America, let's say in the middle of the night, they've got a patient coming in, it's an accident victim. They've got to, scan, they've got to read those scans right away. Teleradiology Solutions in Bangalore will receive that scan, turn it around, and give them the report back in 15 minutes. Okay. And that really could be a life-saving thing.
Sure. Okay.
Right. So that's what it is. So Sunita Maheshwari and her husband run this business. And she is a bit of a philanthropist who doesn't really talk too much about it, So she herself has set up some 70 playgrounds in corporation schools across Bangalore. Okay. And the kind of work that they do at their business as well is very interesting. Just the way they run the business, the atmosphere for the employees is very interesting and inspiring. And their telemedicine wing, where again using technology, they're able to provide healthcare remotely, catered to 12,000 rural Indians last year. And that's just amazing. Sitting here in Bangalore, they've been able to offer healthcare to rural India. These are baby steps, little things.
Yeah, totally.
But it could really revolutionize what happens in the future in India.
Which means we are going more and more into online for everything.
And online really plugs the gaps, no? It brings people together and it's bringing us all much closer. There is no way you would have known about me or I would have known about you.
I was just saying that.
Let's say, for example, except for Facebook.
Okay. But, we have in India, for it to really spread like wildfire, we have a lot of power problems in this country, isn't it?
Well, mobile phones can really solve that problem, right?
Okay.
Yeah,
but
3G.
3G, then it's still expensive. You'll have to have internet
Well, that's
connection.
where I think, no. So, on your mobile phone, you have 3G as long as your mobile towers have enough power, and they can be running on solar power for all you know, and they don't have to have a power shutdown at all. That's all. You're connected. Central servers should never die, ideally, because they should have 100% power backup all the time, or however they're powered, But this is where I think mobile and internet connectivity via the mobile really is a game changer.
In fact, we also have a lot of Radioala apps, all these, Android and BlackBerry,
yeah.
all those. You can listen to Radioala on those also.
Yeah, and that's only fair that's there. Yeah, you're a complete
Because
online
the
platform, so you
portability,
need
number
that.
one, and then secondly, you don't have to really sit in front of a computer and keep listening. What else do you think can happen online?
Oh,
We're talking about audio and
things.
video. We're talking about medicine that happens online.
Healthcare, yeah.
Healthcare is a big way, like you're...
I mean, already education is happening online.
Okay.
A lot of,
Yes.
I don't know. I think the possibilities are endless.
Endless, yeah.
Yeah.
And-
Anything that doesn't involve you to be there in person can be done online.
I wish they would also make software engineers to be able to work online from home.
Oh, yeah. I think a lot of companies don't allow that don't encourage that on an everyday basis simply because they needed the team to come together and interact and engage with each other also.
We are today women poised into a new era. Okay, we were talking about telecommuting. Okay, working out of home.
Yeah.
All right. Women are becoming technologically also, educated, and they want to work, having studied for 4 years in BTech and whatever. But they also have this major responsibility running a home and, taking care of kids and things like that. It's becoming a big issue for them to be able to handle, balance
Absolutely.
home and career. Okay.
Absolutely.
So this online thing, if more and more companies were to go into giving women that flexibility of working from home, or they have to commute. Today, you see a lot of these offices are in very SEZ areas.
Yeah, outside the heart of the city. Yeah.
So their commute is about 2 hours every day, one way and 2 hours back. And then you're really flaked out by the end of it. Suppose they were to just put all the computers, everything in the buses.
No, I wouldn't want that.
So you could do half your work on the way.
Yeah, people do that. People do that. People take their laptops, plug in their 3G dongles, and people are connected and working on their 2-hour commutes to work or 1-hour commutes to work. I've heard about it.
But
I've
those
seen
2 hours should be considered as working hours. See,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
normally 9 hours.
Yeah.
So this 2 hours of commuting either way.
I think so. When you're at entry level, maybe things are much more strict. You have to come put in those 8 hours or 9 hours at
just
the
to give you the
office.
discipline,
Yeah.
work discipline.
But I think once you sort of reach mid-management level and onwards, there's a whole lot more flexibility is what I've noticed.
Yes.
Particularly in the IT sector. Okay. And I think that's the kind of thing we're talking about, because what happens with a lot of other businesses is that, you tend to have more long-term careers in one business and you can live closer to your office. But in IT, there's a lot of churning and you change jobs often enough. And there's a
time
lot of
zones,
commute,
because
etc.
their
Yes, the
clients
time
are in
zones,
different
BPO
time
and
zones.
IT and
Yes.
ITES then. I think there are two things here, if you just step back for a second. So if you talk about the larger issue in general, which is the challenge that women are facing in wanting to have a strong career as well as a strong, a happy atmosphere at home and wanting to be mothers and wives and homemakers, that is one thing. But if you just separate that bigger picture with the careers in IT itself, first, I think a lot of IT companies do allow people to work remotely at least 1 day a week if they live far away from their office. And other times, I think anybody wanting a mainstream career in IT also has to be willing to move closer to the office, because that's, if that's how important your career is, don't kill yourself over it. Be smart about how you play it. But if you look at the bigger picture, then, interestingly enough, this week we did a webisode on this on Chaya with Lakshmi. We had a psychologist come in and we had a panel discussion, with working mothers on board on this. And one of the things the psychologist said is, why do we try to be superwomen? Why do we have to have a high-flying career? Why do we have to be perfect at home? Why do we have to be mothers? Why do we have to be wives? It's not that we shouldn't, but we have to ask these questions to ourselves and ask ourselves, what is really important to each of us? Right. So to me, right now, being single and focusing completely on my career is important to me. I'm not saying that if I meet somebody, I'll ignore that person if I really feel that that guy is a great guy to be with. But I think it'll be important then for me to really plan when I'm going to have my first child, for example. How I'm going to plan that break. What happens after that break? Am I getting back into work? If I'm not, how? If I'm getting into part-time work, what kind of work? Can my business survive all of those breaks that I take? We have to get very intentional about the whole thing. And I think that's the kind of empowerment we need to give our women now. Not to actually tell them that, be a little easy on yourself. Don't try to do everything, because I think women are really stressed out today, and that's not good for their health or for the relationships that they share with their children. So I think if we have to take a step back and really understand what's important, why, and prioritize accordingly and not try to do everything. We are still in that mentality where, we feel like by 30 we should have been married and have a kid or two and have a great job too and have a good salary too, and should have already put a down payment down, if not already having done it at 25, 26, on your first apartment, and have a car. You want everything, and it's okay. Everything may not bring you happiness.
And you have to be a good daughter-in-law.
Yes, there's all of that.
Family.
Yes. Yeah. You need to know how to cook and everything.
Yes.
I think we have to ease off on ourselves. Yeah.
Ease off on ourselves. And I also think, Lakshmi, I don't know. See, I'm 2 generations behind you, so maybe this will sound like stuck in time types of things. But I just feel women should pick careers which kind of blend with this other.
Yeah. So it depends. If they want, there are some women who really want the whole family thing, right? They want a husband, they want children. Maybe I think most women, most Indian women,
even if they don't want it themselves, the societal pressures make them want it.
I guess, yes, you're
Parents,
right over there.
Buas, Masis, oh, your daughter's 28 and the bus has already left. What do you do?
Yeah, my mother was just talking about it, 2 days ago to me, saying that, your aunt was asking about your marriage.
Yes.
So, yes, I know, I understand the pressures, but definitely, yes. So, you have to then ease off somewhere, right? You can't do everything.
No, that's
so then you're right. Then you can either choose something that's a little bit more flexible, versatile, which means that you probably can't be as ambitious as your husband is.
No, why, Lakshmi? You have chosen something which you can blend with you in case you get a family.
Let me be honest. My work is so demanding. For the next 2-3 years, I don't think I can consider children. Very, very practically put.
Good. That's a practical thing.
This is a kind of clarity I'm saying that women need.
That's it.
But it also means that you know that, okay, you're going to be X number of years old when that 2-3 years happens. Will you still be in a childbearing age? Right?
So you see what you have to think about.
You have to think about those
Yes.
things. Absolutely. So that is where the intentionality comes in.
So yesterday I was doing a chat session with some in an IT company on the eve of Women's Day and things. So this is the question most women are asking me. Why is it that we have to make all the compromises? We have to shift to the place where the husband is transferred.
Yeah.
We have to do this. We have to do that. Sweetheart, you don't have to do it.
Yeah, you don't have to.
You have a choice.
You have to clearly tell the man at the beginning, though, that these are what I'm willing to do and these I probably wouldn't be willing to do.
And the other thing is that, see, the man, you as a woman have a choice. Man doesn't have a choice.
As in? How do you mean? To have children?
The day he is born, the parents are already planning his career. He'll be a doctor. He'll be an engineer.
A lot of parents plan careers for women too.
No, the women, normally, if it's a nice, cuddly, cute little baby and things like that, they're already planning getting her married. Oh, she'll be so beautiful. So, we can get her married to a rich man.
I'll have to disagree there. I think my mother clearly knew what she wanted her daughters to become. So I have a younger sister too. I think she thought like one will either become I think she wanted me, eventually she figured that I wasn't good at science, so she thought I would become an English professor, and that my sister would become a doctor. My sister is becoming a doctor in a different way. She's not a medical doctor, but she's now doing a PhD in biomedical engineering. And of course, I'm still in the arts, but in a roundabout way, doing my own thing as a filmmaker. So my mother knew at a very young age, she wanted us to be career women and mothers and wives and daughter-in-laws.
All in one.
All in one. And I think a lot of people expect that of their daughters now. And a lot of women, young girls grow up wanting to be more than wives.
And you know what?
And
that
mothers.
Wanting is not because they want it. It's because it's expected from them by their mothers or whatever. And they want to
I think
please.
there's both. I think there's both.
They say, I want to please my mom and my dad.
right?
Okay.
So the India you're talking about, where the parents, nuclear families, and they're breathing down the throats of children, telling them what to do. That's one section of a society. There are liberal parents,
sure.
and there are parents who live in extended families who are also even more strict, right?
And they have no
say that this
choice
is all
either.
you can do.
Yeah.
You
They
have no choices
because
Yeah.
Dada will be there who will say,
Yeah.
"Ye ho na."
So I think India has many Indias. I think it's down to the individual to understand the context, to recognize what they really want to do for themselves, and then to figure out, okay, how to go about it. What is priority? You have to really prioritize it, and whatever you choose, then be comfortable with it. I think that's what it boils down to.
Lakshmi, you know what that's called? It's called empowerment. The power to
Self-awareness.
choose.
Yeah.
The power to choose. But they're not given that.
No, nobody empowers you. I think in India, the majority of women have to self-empower
Yes.
themselves.
That's a good statement you've made.
Yeah.
You've got to do it yourself.
You got to do it yourself. And it's a fight. It's not easy. It's
You
a
need
fight
to
for the
have guts.
majority.
You need
It
to
is
have
like
guts.
that. Yeah. Yes.
Have
do.
you interviewed any gutsy woman in your show?
Yeah, definitely. I'll tell you the story of this very young girl from Gwalior called Rajni Jha.
Okay.
She was a polio affected child. And I think she was affected by polio when she was about 1 year old. And, it was like the day before she was going to go get her polio shot. She the viral hit her, and that was it. Was too late to get her
tragic.
shot.
Yeah.
And basically, through her childhood, a lot of her relatives told her family that she's a girl and she's polio affected. Just teach her all the domestic work, and she's not going to be able to do much anyway. She'll probably hopefully get married one day, and that'll be her life. She is today the only national level swimmer from Gwalior. Okay, she's a para swimmer. She's an awesome person to talk to. She can do push-ups like you and I can't.
No, I can't. I don't know about you, but I definitely can't.
And she's strong. She speaks well. She's well-traveled because of what, the opportunity the sport has presented her.
That must be really because of her parents giving her that.
Obviously, I think her mother stood by her, but also her coach. So she was sent to swimming classes because it'll help her gain mobility.
Okay. And also strengthen her.
Limbs. That's really how it started. And then she, along with a few other girls,
Took it to a
became
greater
the first Indian para swimming team. And then she's now, of course, a national level swimmer.
So everyone can do it.
Absolutely. I think it's a choice that you make, and you have to stick it out. And you have to face the grind from time to time. And also the joys are yours. The joys are yours to stay.
I read a book once. It was called Good Girls Don't Get Ahead. Gutsy Girls Do.
Oh, wow. I should read this book.
I read this about 12 years ago. So let's raise a toast in this month of International Women's Month of March to all the gutsy girls in this world. And Lakshmi Rebecca is one of the gutsy girls who had decided that she was going to start a brand of her own, be a brand herself with her Chai with Lakshmi. Do log into chaiwithlakshmi.in.
Yes.
And she's got a backup of all the ones that she's done. Yes?
Yep.
And enjoy the show. Maybe you'll be on one of them. If you've got something special to share, you could write to chaiwithlakshmi.in. Tell her your story or somebody whom you know about it. And you could CC me to Chaya at Radio Wala. So we could do an audio interview with you.
Yes.
So you see, I told you women are audio visual. So we are here, both of us, representing the audio visual. Thank you so much, Lakshmi, for being in the show with me.
Thank you so much for having me, Chaya.
Such a pleasure.